Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Laurel Park. A lovely, sunny fall day here. Naomi Tucker alongside Calais, France. Kelly, fair few races coming along today. Of course, tomorrow, big Fall Festival Stakes Day.
Huge Fall Festival Stakes Day. Very excited. We've got a couple of nice shipments coming in. We'll get into that a little bit more later, but very exciting. Overall weekend coming up, but especially tomorrow with that Fall Festival Stakes Day.
Yeah, of course, we'll talk about that in a little bit in lightning round, kind of previewing things ever so slightly. But we have other things to look forward to as well, including Canter for a Cause. The opportunity to ride at Pimlico Racecourse is coming up soon, Sunday, October the 10th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. A multitude of different classes. You can go fast, you can go a little bit slow. Whatever your level is at, there is an opportunity. And of course, it goes to a great charity related to thoroughbred aftercare as well. So do go to pimlico.com to sign up. And aside from stakes action coming up tomorrow, of course, we are looking ahead towards the 2021 Maryland Million coming your way, October the 23rd. Of course, as it says, Maryland's Day at the Races. The Maryland breds put in the spotlight. Always a terrific day out. You can see we are reverting back to 11:30 a.m. post. Of course, the days are getting shorter, but do come and spend it with us here. And also we have a Claiming Crown preview coming up. We know that the Claiming Crown will be held in December at Gulfstream Park. And if you win any of the preview races, that means that you get $2,500 towards your travel and your entry fees paid to compete in the Claiming Crown at Gulfstream Park. So that's also coming up on Sunday, October the 10th. Let's have a look at the current track conditions. Main track fast and term looking gorgeous, doesn't it, Kelly?
It was gorgeous this morning when I rode on it, Naomi. A bit crispy this morning, and I think we're going to be continuing to see those cooler weathers as the day rolls on. It definitely is a nice fall afternoon for racing here. It's pretty darn perfect as far as racing conditions go. And again, the track rode beautifully this morning.
Yeah, it is looking stellar. 61 Fahrenheit, as Kelly highlighted. That's the kind of racing weather that most of the thoroughbreds will very much enjoy. So let's get going here with the 9 race card coming your way. First race of the day, of course, as usual, the start of the early pick 5, a mile and 1/8 the distance, claiming 16 to 12.5. Non-win is a 2 lifetime. We do have a video spotlight on the horse that both of us have very high on our selections. That is the number 7, Baltimore. You can see him there for Kieran McGee, starting to come up with a rally. Still's got plenty to do, but no worries. He is able to move along there. And actually, I thought this was quite tenacious because he was making his move in some of the fastest parts of the race.
He was making his move earlier on, and what's interesting is that right before this film, he got cut off. His momentum was completely shut off. So for him to be able to get behind those horses from being shut off and come back, that's not only a testament to the horse, but a testament to Kieran McGee as well, to be able to condition this horse so nicely to be able to do that at a mile and 1/8 last time out.
Yeah, and of course you use the number 10 as well, Samurai Sunset for Tim Woolley. Third start after a break. Fergal Lynch gets the mount in here. I thought his run last time, that was second after break, was very, very decent on the turf at Delaware. Fasco ended up landing third, only beaten by a length and a quarter. I respect him high. I use him underneath. You have him in your exacta.
I do. I just think that the horse blossomed, and especially in that last start up over at Delaware Park on a good at Delaware, and then you switch over to this really wonderful Laurel turf. I think the horse is just going to really sharpen up from that. And again, Fergal Lynch and Tim Woolley they always pair together, and whenever they do pair together, they seem to get through it quite well.
Yeah, well, good combination there. I used Grecian Pharaoh on top. Broke his main on the main track, but then came back with a solid figure on the turf at this level. I feel like he's really starting to improve in his turf races. So that is race number 1 as we move along to race number 2, which also starts at the early pick 4. I decided to create a ticket today for the early pick 4. You can see an interesting way of structuring it. I decided to go 3 deep in every single leg but the last. the 1, the 4, and the 6. The 4, my top selection behind the couch in race number 2. And then in race number 3, I kind of wanted to go all. I hope that my selection of the 3, the 4, and the 5 is going to be good enough, and that Von Hoff, the number 5 for Brittany Russell, is going to make his second start a winning one. Race number 4, 4, 9, and 10 in here. 5.5 furlongs on the turf. The 4, Mosby's Ranger, very fast early. One of 2 starters in there for Susan Cooney. Of course, Shelley's Island, also a runner for her in that spot. And then in race number 5, I land on a single in that. I hope that the number 8, Paint the Music for me, is going to get in there. But I absolutely love that 1-turn mile from him. He's the grinder kind of type that is going to start working in that last quarter of a mile and hopefully be able to collar who's ever is involved. $13.50, so do feel free to maybe add a couple more runners if you feel the need to do so. Race number 2, Visimair's 3-year-old and up, optional claim starter allowance. 7 furlongs the distance in here. We do have a video spotlight. We'll go to her straight away. Let's assume she's drawn on the rail here. Unfortunately, not a great start at all. You can see that she is getting bumped and then kind of lost a lot of early speed in that spot, didn't she?
She did. I actually put a really nice big fat red line through that last race. Just due to this fact, she wasn't, not only did she have a bad break, but she just wasn't really able to get in the groove, so to say, coming out. And as we can see, as she's coming along, she does, it says, she does get into some traffic, but to me, that wasn't a really big enough factor. I just thought she was completely shut off right from the get-go. When you're going short and it doesn't quite work out and you need to be in a different spot, so she does go in for this rail. Personally, I thought there was enough room to go through that rail, and then you have her sit in behind another horse who's going. It just takes a while to get past those 2 horses once you do make that decision. So there was that for her. That place was a little bit all over the place.
That race was really tough for her. It felt like a couple of races within the race. The start didn't work out in her favor, and then on the rail, perhaps there was a gap, but Charlie opted to not take it. So then again, she had to shift her momentum, and I think that was pretty tricky for her. So I do want to give her a pass for that one.
Absolutely, and once he'd made the decision to not go up that rail, because she had that rough start, she probably wasn't feeling very brave going into that spot, which is why he opted to go out, which is a smart decision. But that takes time, and it takes a while to get across those horses. As you can see, she kind of stuck behind the 1 horse there.
Yeah, hence wasn't able to get any closer to the leader. Both of us landed on the number 4 behind the couch for trainer John Salzman. JD Acosta on board. She has a lovely runner style. I think this is going to put her in great stead here. Nearly caught Unrequited Love at Timonium on the main track last time. We know Unrequited Love came back to win a starter allowance here with a 68 Bayern last time. Kind of, really highlighting that behind the couch's main track form is good enough in this spot.
Not only is the main track form, but I'm looking at how this lines up for her to be going 7 furlongs. And you mentioned it, and I'm going to key in on that Timonium race, because going two turns across that 6.5, she just missed it. And so then you go take her back in real estate and go 5.5. She just doesn't get up there because there wasn't enough room for her there. So I think this 7 furlongs will fit her absolutely perfectly.
So what do we make of the number 6, Volney, in this spot for trainer Dale Caparano? She was blistering fast from the gate. She's not, cheap speed, like we like to call it. She stays the 7 furlongs. I use her in my exact because I'm just not sure we've kind of seen the top of her yet.
I agree. I think I need to see a little bit more. I want to see a little bit more challenge, and she will get a little bit more challenge, I believe, in this race, which is why I left her underneath. But I absolutely think she's in a wonderful spot headed into this 7 furlongs. She did it at Charlestown. She pretty much did it at Timonium, and she's going to do it again here today at Laurel.
Yeah, definitely see how she'll fare. The race I'm looking forward to, one of a couple of races I'm looking forward to, of course, race number 3, maiden special weight for the 2-year-olds, 5.5 furlong sprinting distance. And look, Callie, both you and I landed on the same runner here. Let's have a look at the number 5, Von Hoff, who was trying to get the job done on his first start, but could not get through at all on the rail for, last furlong or more. You can see him sitting there. Kendrick Carmouche is basically waiting, right? Yes. Waiting right here, trying to see when the rail's going to open up, trying to see when he can go through. And unfortunately, it wasn't the case.
It wasn't, and this is the opposite of the other horse that we just watched. It was right there, and then the hole did close up. And I watched the head on, and so the head on only came from the back angle, and there was absolutely no room, and he just caught him. He was away. What's funny is that so then that rail, it does slightly open up again, but then the 2 comes and tightens it up again, which that's a lot to ask for a first-time starter to be able to do that. I mean, again, that's a huge feat to ask, and it's very intimidating for a first-time starter. And it was quite funny because after the gallop out, you see Von Hoff just followed the horse that ended up being on the rail, who drifted out a little bit, so just following the herd of the pack. But I think we're going to get to see a bit better from Von Hoff.
I thought you were going to say, oh, he overtakes all the pack and he had
he
so
didn't.
much left.
He didn't, but I think that was just because he got intimidated and then he was just kind of following along within. So again, we have a lot to see out of Von Hoff yet.
Yeah, I mean, the time waiting there on the rail, there was so much run left for this 2-year-old. Definitely think he's going to come back a lot stronger here today. Both of us also used the number 3 line chart for Michael Sidham, Charlie Marquez. Dam Chaluki Song, she won on debut, 85 buyer, never seen after, so I'm assuming she had a bit of a setback, but clearly showed a lot of potential on that first 3 siblings. 2 of them won first time out of the box. He's a half-brother to Callow, who ran 3rd in the Grade 3 De Francis Dash right here with a top of 96 buyer and, you know, a work tab that I think both of us like a lot.
I am in love with this work tab. Love it. I see a 5 furlong work out of the gate, 1 from the pole, 1 again from the gate, and a nice 5 furlong work to just wrap it up in a nice little bow. That's just a beautiful work tab coming into this first-time starter.
And the number 4 out, Kissed, Robbie Bales, 4 boys aboard, 2 siblings, both placed on first. Both placed on first asking, so you didn't win, but they did play, so showed a little precocity. Full brother to Sharapova, who's with Peter Urton. It's a 3-year-old filly who's broke her maiden at Santa Anita in May with an 81 buyer. So I think we're going to see a fair bit more from this family.
This is a nice field. This is a nice maiden special weight that's going to be playing out. I mean, I feel like there's going to be a lot of talent that comes out of this race, despite who finishes first, second, or third. And again, going back to the work tab, very similar work tab. Just flip it with the Michael Stidham. We get a nice gate workout first out before, which I actually do love a little bit better.
Yeah, no, definitely plenty of ways to go in race number 3. Plenty of value to be found. Certainly encourage everyone to come and have a look at them in the paddock, because that's sometimes a little bit of a giveaway as well. Race number 4, start of the Rainbow Pick 6. Callie, how are you seeing it unfold today?
I'm seeing it unfold a couple of different ways. So I go too deep in race 4 with the 9 and the 10. In race 5, I go to the 3 and the 8. In race 6, I go on that 5.5 on the turf. I go the 3, the Candy Corner, who is showing a little bit on the upswing. And then the number 11, that Lily Curtin has coming over from Gulf, coming from the south, and then taking some time here, spending it in Maryland. I single in on race 7, the number 5, Cry No More with Kieran McGee, which we will get into for a little bit. I'm really excited to see how that horse goes. Race 8, I go 4 deep, the 3, the 6, the 8, and the 9 in that 2-year-old maiden special weight. That's going to come up really, really nicely. A couple of nice maiden special weights that we have here today. And for the nightcap, I go triple in on the 2, the 9, and the 12 for a nice $28.80 ticket.
Yeah, very affordable Rainbow Pick 6 to get you going with. Race number 4, claiming 16 to 12.5 thousand, 5.5 furlongs the distance. Kale, you landed on a horse that I actually just recently watched the replay of his last race, because Just Wave and Smile was not having a good time in that last outing. Got very keen early, ran up on one of the runners in front of him, clipped the heels with that foe. He stumbled. Thankfully, all were okay and all stayed on their legs. But that just kind of took the whole race away from me. He needs a clean trip, and the outside draw helps here for trainer Dale Capuano.
Exactly, and when he did get a clean trip last back at Pimlico, he ran very respectable, tried to rush for the race, and just thinking about it, this horse is still able to run, overcoming all of that. So it's very encouraging. I feel like you could possibly place this horse anywhere in the field, because if you go back to that 30th of May run on the off going, just stalked. So one stalking position, didn't quite get it first time on the turf, rushing for the pace, and then second time on the turf came from a little bit off the pace with trouble. So if we just finally find that happy medium, as you said, that nice clean trip, I think Just Wave and Smile is going to just wave and smile right to the winner's circle.
Yeah, we'll see how he fares. I use Mosby's Ranger on top. Dominant Speed is going to hope to take them all the way. One of two in here for Susan Cooney. Now, we know that Susan Cooney has done terrifically well in the last 2 live race days at Laurel Park. She had 2 wins and 2 seconds. Now, like I said, one of 2 in here. I landed on the number 4, but I do know that you have the number 6, Shelly Island, like I do in your in your picks underneath as well.
Just a consistent horse, and I love how this horse has blossomed out of these Colonial races. I love how a lot of these horses are still in their nice form running on that turf at Colonial. It shows how nicely that our Laurel track is as well, as because Colonial is so renowned for its
I don't
turf
think
course.
the 4 Mosby's Ranger liked Colonial much. I'm assuming you're talking about the 6.
I am
the
sorry.
other one,
I'm sorry.
Shelley's
Yes,
Island.
I just skipped right to Shelley's Island. Sorry, but yes, going back to Mosby's Ranger really quickly. Again, it just. I agree. Didn't love Colonial, and not only that, on the main track. I mean, this is clearly a turf horse. I mean, he did a one-off on the off-going. He broke his maiden at Mountaineer, but this is an out-and-out turf horse. And whenever he does get the trip now, and that's the biggest thing, as long as he doesn't have any issues breaking out of that gate in the middle of the field, he should be good.
Yeah, well, yeah, you already made the case for Shelley's Island. Both of us use him underneath. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll be back with race number 5. Welcome back to Laurel Park. We're on race number 5 of 9. Race number 5, of course, start of the late pick 5 sequence, claiming 10 to 8,000 nominals at 2 lifetime, 1 turn mile the distance here. Callie, we use similar horses. You use the number 3 Tremendous on top for Horacio de Paz. Wonder if he's going to get the run of the race like he did last time. I don't know if he's as fast early to hold off perhaps El Equalizer on his outside, Don't Dare Me on his inside. He did rush up last time. He didn't break that well, was still able to get to the front. So I think he showed that he can overcome that kind of trouble. How is it going to pan out for him here?
So I agree with you that that's the big question mark with this horse. Is he able to be quick enough to get to that top spot before the turn? But also how I see it going is that I see a little bit of distance space happening in this Laurel. A typical Laurel race is going to have a little bit of space. This horse might not get it on top, but you might see him just get into that nice stalking and possible lead position, maybe a little bit late, maybe in the middle late part of that turn. There is a possibility of that happening, but I'm also giving this horse the vote of confidence because every single time he's run, it's been on the off going. He finally gets a fast track today, and I'm just very eager to see how. I think he's going to run great on it, and I'm eager to see that as well. And he's proven to be able to do that with a nice bullet work back in August on the fast track over at Pimlico.
Yeah, possibly gets exactly what he's been waiting for. Because of that abundance of speed in this spot, I'm hoping that a closer like Paint Music for me is going to absolutely relish that 1 turn mile. He is going to start gobbling up these runners, really grind it out in that last quarter of the mile. Kieran McGee versus Carlos Lopez have been doing very, very strongly on this circuit.
Yeah, they're at 28% together on the dirt specifically, and then, all the stats work for this horse in the Kieran McGee barn. And again, I agree with you. I think this horse just needs to get a little bit of a chance, a little bit of a space, and as you said, that 1 turn mile should, as I mentioned before, with Tremendous, there's going to be a lot of fanning out, a lot of spacing out. So your horse at Paint the Music for me on your top selection should be able to pick up any pieces that fall apart.
Absolutely. Race number 6, maiden claiming event, 16 to 12,500. Fillies and mares trying to get that first win on board. 5.5 furlongs on the turf here. And let's talk about your top selection. The 4-year-old Candy Corner making her turf debut here for trainer Dove Houghton. I didn't get to her. I did think that her last race at Timonium, sprinting on the main track, there was a significant improvement in terms of her ability as a racehorse.
Yeah, and I think with the Dove Houghton barn, once the horses start to, that light switch does flip on, the horses will start to improve and start to turn. I mean, just seeing the horse in the morning, I think the horse is doing okay. Clearly the horse is doing okay with a nice work back at Laurel when we first got back to Laurel. But when things like this happen, when you're going at that Timonium, that nice Timonium performance, sometimes the light can just switch on, and I really think that's what it is. So really it's just a vote of barn confidence.
Yeah, I love it. I overlooked that runner. I landed on the number 7 Torch Carrier, first-time starter for Mikey Giralles in this spot. He's by Uncle Lino. Now, Uncle Lino, with his 3-year-old and up, first-time starter, 27% of them win, which is just a very, very high percentage, meaning that this sire is very good at getting them to win first out the box. 2 siblings, a half-sister by Bambucks, who also won on debut, sprinting 5 furlongs on the main track. I like the work up. And quite frankly, I just don't think this field is that strong. So I'm going to take my chances with a first-time starter.
Absolutely. In fact, I did have Torch Carrier in my exacta before I just placed him underneath. And I think this horse, just because he's a first-time starter, that's why I placed him underneath. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. This field is not a strong field and a great field for this horse to get his first experience in a race and over the turf as well.
Yeah, the number 1 Elbow Chincha for Neil Morris. JD Acosta missed a break at Timonium. Now, we know how fast they break out there. When you miss the break at Timonium, I feel like you're on the back foot and you're kind of done, aren't you?
You are. As if you don't get the break at Timonium, the race is over. The race is potentially over unless you're going, you can get a piece of it if you're going a mile and 16th at Timonium.
Yeah, so this time around, hopefully a better experience for this 4-year-old making her second career start. Race number 7, 2 other than optional claiming event, 5.5 furlongs the distance. Do a video spotlight on the horse that both Callie and I think will most likely win this race. And well, he kind of threw himself a little bit against the starting gate there and then ended up being rushed up to get to the lead. Now, only a 3-horse field, but Cry No More ran a big race.
Yeah, you know, I could see this horse being a little nervy. I mean, he is just a little bit, he did get a little bit nervous in the gate, and it was a little bit, he was shifting, and so when the gates opened, he naturally just popped his side to the gate. And so when you get the instructions to go and you have it out of the gate, it's naturally going to look a little rushy. But he did get a nice little breather for a half a second before he just got completely dogged on by Jackson Traveler. But look at him turn in and just get grinding. I mean, this horse is compared to that Jackson Traveler, that Steve Asmussen runner. I mean, come on, that's a great performance that he gave.
Yeah, Maryland 2-year-old champion there, Jackson Traveler. I thought Cry No More did very, very well, trying to keep up with him. Then, of course, I was in a hurry, kind of catches him late for 3rd as well. But also 2 starts ago, he ran a very strong 2nd at this level behind Band on Tour. Band on Tour came back to win a 3 other than at Laurel with an 81 buyer. So we know how well he's been doing. So I really feel like Cry No More, this is going to be his race to lose.
Yes.
Unfortunately for him, though, Ziggy just drawn towards his outside, the number 6 for Claudio Gonzalez, is also going to try and pressure him early.
And I mean, honestly, I have a feeling we're going to see a repeat situation for Cry No More, unfortunately. So let's just compare Ziggy to Jackson Traveler essentially and see see how that ends up for him. But I think let's give Cry No More a little bit of a break. And I do like the work coming into this. Kind of blows off the steam a little bit with a nice 47-1 work.
Yeah, to me he just seems the class of the field. Of course, that was the start in NASCAR stakes race as well. I don't think there's anyone in here that's as tough as, for example, Jackson Traveler was early. Let's talk quickly about the number 2 now. I use Life Don't Owe You in 3rd for trainer Ron Potts. Dana Whitney rides. I didn't know where to place this relatively lightly raced 3-year-old. Back-to-back wins coming in here, including allowance level at Penn National. But this is deeper waters here.
This is the nice step up, proper step up for this horse. This is
Yeah.
simply Ron just saying, "Hey, let's where else? Because what else can you do at Penn National? Really, the next step up. This is the natural step up, and so the only thing I have against him is that he's coming with the Stone Courageous scratch. He's coming out of that first spot on the rail, and
True.
that's a big disadvantage.
True, I'm not sure that will help him here. Race number 8, another maiden special weight for juveniles coming up. You know how much I love these. I get very excited. 5.5 furlongs on the turf. But of course, the Stronach 5 starts in race 8. We know it's Friday. Happy Stronach 5 Friday. We kick things off right here, Laurel Park, race 8. Then we go to our friends at Gulfstream Park for race 8 there as well. Back to us for race number 9. Santa Anita Park gets back in the mix. Opening day today at Santa Anita Park. We'll talk about that in a second. Finishing things off strongly with Golden Gate Field. So all the Stronach tracks are involved in this Friday's Stronach 5. So don't forget, kicks off right here with a tough maiden special weight. Bakala, you and I both love the number 3, Trust Daddy, making his second start, because let's look back at the unfortunate start he had on debut the 10th of September. Basically just went nearly completely down on his knees.
He almost went more down on his knees. I'm also looking at his front end and his hind end. His hind end really went down, so lost all leg underneath him. And as you can see, it still puts in a huge performance, as we're going to see later on. But
5 lengths to make up
that's
there.
what I mean. And not only 5 lengths, but he goes 5 wide, 4 or 5 wide. And when you get a horse that is that tenacious of overcoming all of that, I mean, come on, you got to pick this horse on top. I mean, we all were watching that race, I remember, and we had this horse keyed in for the next race, and we finally get to see him. I don't think we're going to be able to see that. I know that Jerry would definitely be standing that horse at the gate. Interesting that he also worked this horse on the turf, which I thought was super interesting.
Well, we are running on the turf, so certainly that's why
Right.
he's making
glad
that
that he
change
did that.
from the dirt to the turf. It's great to give them that experience, because it can sometimes be quite daunting for these youngsters to go high speeds on the turf. Very different consistency. We have little bobbles, little ups and downs, all natural on the turf. Not as much the case on the main track here. So I'm glad he did that. And this horse ran the best race of the entire field. You highlighted it here. I love him in this spot. Let's talk about a couple of others, though. Let's talk about the number 6, Holiday House. Michael Stidham, more than ready sire, gets both dirt and turf runners. Only siblings to date have won twice, of which the best race came going along on turf. So the turf angle is there, and seems pretty fast in the mornings too.
Fast enough in the mornings. The breeding is there, as you very much highlighted, Naomi. My only question about him is that Michael Stidham does have a string both at Delaware and at Fair Hill. You could have. I'm wondering why he's starting on the turf at Fair Hill, or starting on the turf here, but then didn't do any of these works on the Tapeta or the synthetic surface at Fair Hill. So that's my only nit. I'm splitting hairs, and that's my only nick against this horse.
No, absolutely. This is the kind of field that you want to dive in and find these little notes on these horses. The number 8, Radical Right, Dale Capuano, second time on the turf. I thought he did very well on his first time on the grass. Sat in the pocket on the rail, looked loaded, but failed to switch to that right lead. Continued gamely, but kind of needed that fresh lead to get that kick home.
Exactly. Sea legs. I call it sea legs. First time on the turf. As you said, Naomi, it's a completely different surface. The little bobbles a little, and it was firm, but it was a little bit, it might have been a little bit soft that day. It's a whole different consistency. So despite that, and First Samurai, not bad with second time on the turf, 12%. So just a lot of factors, and I'm being very forgiving of this horse, and came out of the race fantastically with a bullet work on September 25th.
That always great to see that they came out of it well. Quickly mentioned Zatep for trainer Graham Motion, Fergal Lynch. Tappet is only average with his turf sprinters. I kind of questioned why they make the debut here, because impeccably bred. Dam Zaftig won the Grade 1 Acorn in 2008 with a staggering 113 by for Jimmy Jerkins. That was on the main track. 3 siblings, one of them won first time out, the other placed third on debut. Half brother to Grade 1 Woodward, fourth placed spin-off. wonder why they're opting to sprint on the turf with this runner when, to me, perhaps Tappets and the pedigree suggest that the main track will be better. So very intrigued by this Graham Mosher runner. As we'll finish things off here with race number 9, of course, leg C of the Stronach 5 as well, claiming 12.5 to 10,000, a mile and an eighth on the turf here. And Callie, you landed on the number 9 in this spot, which is Minister's Strike for trainer Mary Epler.
Yeah, I'm just going clearly off of the last performance. You know, back at the same level, no different, but just missed it on the head bob. The horse was coming. I mean, if that horse was near at the end of it, at the top of the stretch, and for him to make a quick turn of foot like that, that's got to help him out going longer.
Yeah, I use a speed horse in here, the number 6 Unworry Sky, as that will finish up our handicapping segment for this morning. But of course, we've got so much to discuss in Lightning Round. Let's have a look at your current jockey standings. Now we know someone has really hit the ground running here. Javier Toledo leads the way with 12 wins, but Horatio Caramano is breathing down his neck with 10. You can see, of course, all sort of closely matched in here, and I think that's a testament to the depth of the jockey colony here.
Tough colony that we have here, and we always have been. I mean, for the past couple of years, it's just we have a deep, very deep field here, not just in the Mid-Atlantic, but just in Laurel Park specifically. And I mean, Javier Toledo has been just running away, taking the bit and running away with it, and then we'll touch on this later, but Caramanos adding 3 wins to that 10-win total yesterday.
Yeah, that certainly helped. Of course, let's have a look at the trainer standings as well. Currently, Brittany Russell showing us all how it's done. 9-win streak here. Well, not streak, excuse me. 9 wins thus far for the Meet Michael Trombetta in second with 6 wins. Hammy Smith doing pretty well, and so is Jamie Ness and Rudy Sanchez Solomon. It's, of course, we just kind of started. But I can tell that Brittany Russell is, she got the right horses in the barn.
Right horses in the barn, and she puts them in the right spot, which is almost more important than having the right horses in the barn. And I think that Brittany Russell, clearly very astute. I love seeing Hammy Smith and Rudy Sanchez Solomon. They're not on top all the time, so it's nice to see them really start off with a nice, fresh start to this Laurel Fall meet.
Absolutely. We already highlighted it's time for the Stronach 5 today. We kick things off right here at Laurel Park. But Callie, I know that you looked at a couple of the other races involved.
Yeah, I mean, we start off here at Laurel Park, but I skipped ahead and took a peek at Gulfstream Park number 8, 5.5 on the dirt. And the one standout who is at the 92 morning line is My Sarasota Star with Georgina Baxter. She has excellent stats, first time with new trainer and first time off of the claim. And then we're back here at Laurel Park for that nightcap that we touched on earlier. Then I head over to Santa Anita Park for the third race back here at opening day, I believe, at Santa Anita. And the two that kind of catch my eye are the 7 and the 2, Trebbiano and Sumter. And then going to that Golden Gate field, the race number 4, the one that stands out to me, actually is the 2-1 favorite, Arouse and Go. But then the 5-2, always in Vegas, you might want to keep on there as well.
I love it. I always find that last leg at Golden Gate feels super, super tough on the Stronach 5. So definitely, if you just picked your winner there, congratulations, because it's definitely not easy. You highlighted it. It indeed is opening day at Santa Anita Park. And, well, they kick things off with some terrific races. 2 Grade 2s and, of course, the Grade 1 American Pharaoh Stakes. 2-year-olds going 1 mile and 16 on the main track. I do believe Bob Baffert's got 3 in there, very heavy-handed. But they also got some other activities going on, don't they, Callie?
They do. They certainly do. I think they've got a lot of coming in for
the Oktoberfest,
there we
right?
Go.
We were talking about this the other
yes,
day.
Thank you. Oktoberfest coming in with some nice Bavarian beer, live music, entertainment. They're bringing in all the hot stuff to bring in all of the hot crowds, which everybody knows there is always a nice crowd at Santa Anita.
Absolutely. The great race place, one of the most beautiful tracks in the United States. I was very fortunate to be there for a month or so and get to see that gorgeous view every single day. But yeah, October 1st to October 31st is the meet starting today. Oktoberfest October 2nd and 3rd, as well as October 9th and 10th. Live music, entertainment. I think there was Bavarian beer. Now, I'm not a beer drinker, but I can tell the majority of people tend to be. So do invite everyone, if they are on the East Coast, excuse me, West Coast. Now I'm having a brain fuzzle here. Go and have a look. Come to Santa Anita Park. Of course, stakes action coming up tomorrow. We've been waiting for this fall festival of racing, of course, headlined by the Laurel Futurity and the Selima Stake, the 94th running of the Futurity for 2-year-olds. Plenty of intriguing juveniles in there. City at Night for Mike Maker, High Stock for Graham Motion, Jamestown Stakes, Victor Determined Kingdom will be stretching out for Phil Showenthal. And of course, the 91st running of the Selima Stakes for 2-year-old fillies as well. Consumer Spending is coming down here for Chad Brown and Seth Klarman. Quite a nice 2-year-old filly. Both mile and 16 on the turf, headlining that 10 race card, 12:40 p.m. post coming your way. And of course, you're saying it, Horatio Karamanos, yesterday, man of the moment, recorded a hat trick. Which races did he win, Callie?
I believe he did win race number 4 and number 6 and number 7. He just rolled it right along in the middle of the day for us to get really excited. And he almost came in with some nice horses to almost get 4 wins yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love Towser, that second-time starter for Justin Nixon that he won in race 7 with. I remember ran on the turf at Kentucky Dow's, came to the main track here and got the job done. So congratulations to all connections in here. You can see a very happy Horatio Karamanos, of course, looking to get a couple more wins on board. That will do it for me and Callie. We'll be back this afternoon, hopefully pointing you towards a winner or two. Of course, Dave Rotman will be up next with Scratches and Changes.